So far, you've seen procedures for installing the ballasted system, the adhered system, and the mechanically anchored system. Now, let's finish up by taking a look at one more installation. It's for the batten in the seam and reinforced mechanically attached systems. The batten in the seam and reinforced mechanically attached systems use narrow EPDM panels. One edge of each panel is attached to the deck with batten strips and fasteners. Adjoining panels are overlapped to cover the batten strips, and then the panels are spliced with quick seam tape to form a watertight membrane. As with the adhered system and the MAS system, batten in the seam and reinforced mechanically attached systems are installed on roof decks that provide adequate pull-out resistance for Firestone fasteners. Here's a look at the step-by-step procedures for installing these two systems.
The installation procedure begins much like it does for the other systems you've seen in this program. However, for batten in the seam and reinforced mechanically attached systems, the panels are positioned to allow for a minimum 7-inch overlap at side laps and a minimum 3-inch overlap at end laps. Also, these systems use narrow panels of EPDM from 6 1/2 to 10 feet wide. The actual panel size selected depends on the roof height and the building code requirements. Refer to the Wind Design Guide section of Firestone's technical manual for approved panel layouts. Be sure to select and verify proper panel layout before installation begins. Batten in the seam and reinforced mechanically attached systems use Firestone batten strips and fasteners to anchor the membrane to the roof substrate. These battens are placed within the 7-inch minimum seam overlap of the roof panels. After the membrane panels have been laid out and allowed to relax, overlap the adjacent panels by 8 inches to aid the 7-inch tape application. For tape placement, mark the edge of the overlap. Place the mark on the bottom panel 1/2 inch from the overlap of the top panel. And repeat the mark every 5 to 6 feet along the overlap. Then, fold back the top panel to expose the seam area. And mark the location of the batten on the bottom panel, using a tape measure and a chalk line. Measure in 4 inches from the edge overlap marks and strike a line. Then, lay out the batten strips along the chalk line. Overlap adjacent battens with one common fastener hole. Note that you'll need to follow these marking procedures only when you are installing non-reinforced membrane. Firestone reinforced membrane is pre-marked in the factory for edge and batten strip alignment. Whenever a batten run intersects with base tie-ins, roof curbs, or another batten run, you must hold the batten back approximately 11 inches from the intersection. Whenever it is necessary to cut a batten strip, be sure to round the cut end with sheet metal shears and remove any sharp burrs. Also, place a 2-inch round piece of EPDM membrane directly under the end of the batten as a cushion. You can cut this round protection pad from excess membrane. Before you install Firestone fasteners in the battens, check to determine the proper fastener spacing. Firestone requires that fasteners be spaced at least every 12 inches on center, but some building codes and deck conditions may require additional fasteners. Always place a fastener within 1 inch of each end of a batten run. If the location of this fastener does not coincide with a pre-punched hole, you must drill a pilot hole through the batten strip. Drill the hole using a 1/4 inch drill bit. Before installing the end fasteners in any batten run, always verify that the end of the batten has been rounded and that a 2-inch round protection pad has been placed directly under the end of the batten. Also, be sure to remove any shavings or small pieces of batten. This debris could cut the membrane. Starting at one end of the batten run, attach the batten using Firestone fasteners through the pre-punched holes spaced no more than 12 inches apart. Connect adjacent battens together with a single fastener placed through the common fastener hole. Make sure each fastener is properly engaged in the deck. The head is flush with the batten strip surface, and the fasteners are not overdriven. The next step is to install Firestone 7-inch quick seam tape. First, tack back the top sheet, if needed, and apply the quick prime to the exposed seam area. Then, apply the 7-inch quick seam tape against the marks on the bottom sheet, and carefully compress the tape on both sides of the batten strip. Finally, mate the seam and remove the release paper. Be especially careful when you remove the release paper from 7-inch quick seam tape, as the batten could cause the paper to tear. After the membrane panels are installed with inseam battens, you must add additional securement along the roof perimeter. This is accomplished with additional batten runs and quick seam batten covers. In addition, a Firestone batten ring or a square picture frame must be installed around all pipe penetrations and penetration pockets.
At Firestone, we deliver advanced technology products for outstanding quality roofing systems. We also provide comprehensive training so you can install roofing systems that perform over time. Make sure you review all current technical specifications prior to installation and follow safe roofing practices. For information on how to install EPDM roofing details, watch tape number 3 in this Force videotape series. Firestone's EPDM roofing systems reflect the total commitment to quality. At Firestone, the leader in commercial roofing, nobody covers you better.